Today we're exploring the different types of NFL fans, and let's just start with the one that everybody knows, the casual. Most fans that you interact with are going to be casuals, and most of these casual fans have absolutely no idea that they're casuals. They go to sports bars, they might own a jersey, and they might even have strong opinions. But when it comes to the true ins and outs of the NFL and football itself, they have no idea what's happening. They can usually name a few star players, and they know that Travis Kelce is dating Taylor Swift. But if you start to dig a little deeper and do something like, I don't know, ask them to name their offensive lineman, you'll watch the light slowly start to leave their eyes. Their entire football knowledge usually comes from whatever Stephen A. Smith was yelling about this morning and what their coworker, who they consider the football guy, happened to say to them at lunch. They call every good player the GOAT, and they'll say surface level things like, the other team just wanted it more and that's why we lost. But try not to think too much about what they say. They're just repeating the things that they hear from ESPN like some sort of football parakeet. The Bandwagon Mercenary. When I was in college, I had a roommate that was from LA. His two favorite teams happened to be the Alabama Crimson Tide and the New England Patriots. When I asked him, how does a guy from Southern California end up with those two teams as his favorite, he looked me dead in my face and said something that I will never forget. He said, I only like winners. Now, as you might have guessed, his favorite teams are now the Kansas City Chiefs and the Georgia Bulldogs. I tell you that story for two reasons. The first reason is that I truly appreciate the honesty. And the second is because he is a textbook bandwagon mercenary. But I do have to warn you that 99.9% of bandwagon mercenaries that you ever interact with will never be as honest as my roommate. They'll swear on their mother's life that they've always loved the Kansas City Chiefs. But if you dig through their old Instagram photos, you'll see that back in 2018, they were rocking Patriots gear. And it usually doesn't end with just football. If you go back to 2016, they had Warriors jerseys. And if you go back to 2010, they were rocking LeBron's Miami Heat jersey. Their closet looks like a sports store that only sells championship merchandise from the last decade. This is just what they think being a fan is. Some of the more crafty bandwagon mercenaries out there will have some sort of origin story to try and cover their tracks, but don't fall for it. You'll catch them saying something like, my mom's great-grandma was from Kansas City, so I've always had a little bit of a tie to the Chiefs' kingdom. This is the same person that has no idea that Kansas City isn't located in Kansas. You're not fooling anyone, buddy. The Conspiracy Theorist. This fan lurks in the shadows waiting to find anyone enjoying NFL football so they can inevitably leap from the shadows and hit you with, you know the entire thing's rigged, right? If you make the mistake of engaging with this person, they're going to unload everything. They'll tell you that there's magnets in the ball and that every single referee has an earpiece that directly connects them to Vegas. And of course, they'll tell you that Roger Goodell telepathically communicates with the players on the field through the fluoride that's in their Gatorade. Every comeback is scripted, every dropped pass is planned, and that kicker that just shanked the game winner got Venmo'd a huge bonus at halftime. He's got folders of evidence in his phone that are just filled with blurry screenshots that are so blurry, nobody can tell what's happening. According to him, there's no point in watching because the Super Bowl winner was already decided last March. But if you flip the script on him and ask why he's watching it all, he'll of course say that he's just there to document the corruption. And yes, you guessed it, his kids do not visit on the holidays. The Degenerate Gambler. I'm not even sure that this guy likes football. But what I do know is that he likes having action. Football just happens to be his delivery system for his gambling addiction, the same way that a tortilla is the delivery system for salsa. He stays up to date on every single injury report, not because he cares about player safety, but because he needs to know if the backup tight end can hit the over on 2.5 receptions when he inevitably bets on them. His living room on Sunday looks like he's trying to contact the aliens. Laptop is open with live betting, phone is open with 3 different betting apps, and of course you can't forget the TV being on quad box. Despite spending all of this time on betting and having all of this technology dedicated to betting, he somehow still almost never wins. To this day, this fan is still chasing the high that they got from that one time they turned $10 into $1,300 on an 8-leg parlay. He will most likely never recapture that kind of success again, but that will never, ever stop him. To this guy, betting is love and betting is life. Before I move on to the next type of fan, if you've made it this far in the video and you're enjoying yourself, consider leaving a like or maybe even subscribing because it really does help the channel and it makes my cat very happy. The I played guy. Now, we all saw what happened with Peter Schrager and Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark told Peter Schrager that his opinion didn't matter because he didn't actually play. And it's not just Ryan Clark. These guys exist in real life. The only difference is that while Ryan Clark was an actual NFL player who played at an extremely high level, this guy was probably the backup strong safety on varsity. He had 4 career snaps, 3 were on special teams, and now he talks like Bill Belichick calls him up for advice. When I played, we would never run that coverage. When the I played guy actually played, the coach called him by the wrong name for 2 years, and his main contribution to the team was that his mom would bring orange slices for the team at halftime. And do not even get this guy started on injuries. Every injury that happens in-game to an elite athlete somehow becomes his war story. The injury report will come back with someone having a sprained MCL, and he'll start rambling on and on about how he had the same exact injury and he knows how tough it is to come back, and that guy's going to be out for season. Last but not least, you can't forget that just like Ryan Clark, he uses his playing days as a force field against any disagreement. Your point is invalid because you just didn't play. It doesn't matter that the highlight of his career was when he got let into the game on JV when they were already up by 40. He suited up, you didn't. Conversation over. The PFF Prophet. Ah yes, the advanced stats guy. For those of you who don't know, PFF stands for Pro Football Focus, which is a sports analytics company that takes football statistical analysis to a whole new level. This guy discovered Pro Football Focus and made it his entire personality. It's like when one of your friends gets into cryptocurrency and suddenly every conversation becomes about the blockchain, but somehow this PFF guy is more annoying than that. If you make even the most innocent comment, maybe about how a quarterback had a good game, they'll answer back with, the standard QB rating is misleading because if you look at his QB rating against pressure on 3rd and long, it actually shows the truth. And you'll just have to reel him back in and remind him that this is not his TED Talk and we're at Buffalo Wild Wings. For as many statistics and football facts as this person knows, it's actually shocking that if you ask them what the defense is in right now, they'll pretend they didn't hear you because they have no idea. But if you ask them what someone's run block grade was from week 7 in 2019, he's suddenly an encyclopedia. These people do the exact opposite of the eye test. Their perception on if a player is good or bad is totally dependent on what PFF and these other analytical stat companies say. Analytics to them are gospel. The Suffering Addict. I'm fully convinced that these people don't want their team to actually be successful. They think they do, but they absolutely don't. Their entire personality is totally built on this suffering that was totally made up by them. They're like those people that listen to sad Drake songs to feel like they just got out of a hard breakup, even though they've been in a stable relationship for 6 years. If you're around one of these fans and your team happens to be successful, they are judging you the entire time. Your team just won by 17 points and they're saying things in your ear like, must be nice to root for a winner, but I wouldn't know. When their team is actually doing something good, like, I don't know, winning, they somehow still find something wrong with it. Their team could be 10-0, but they'll just be talking about how somehow they're going to Browns it up in the playoffs so it won't matter. If this fan happens to be you, just know that you are succeeding in making everyone around you just as miserable as you are. The Fantasy Psychopath. This person is obviously different from the gambler. The gambler needs action and the Fantasy Psychopath needs control. He needs to micromanage his imaginary team that exists only in his phone and his increasingly fragile mind. He'll tell you about how he's in 17 different leagues, all with different scoring systems. He also tends not to watch complete games. After all, it's kind of hard to sit and watch just one game when you've got 37 guys playing on all of your different teams at any given time, which is why this person usually just sits through 8 to 9 hours of red zone every single Sunday. If you start talking about your real team's actual success and how they just clinched a playoff spot, he'll start rambling on and on about how your star receiver let him down because he needed 12 points but only got him 10. All he cares about is his matchup against Keith, who forgot to even set his lineup because he has a job and other perspectives on life. When the season comes to an end, it doesn't end there. March through August, he's still thinking about fantasy football. He's doing mock drafts, he's looking at incoming rookies' college stats for his dynasty team, and this person will continue on this cycle off into eternity. The Nostalgia Merchant. This fan is stuck in 1995. He's got to complain about everything happening in the current NFL. He continues to watch, but tries to make everyone around him as miserable as he is. Like any good nostalgia merchant, he's got a few phrases that he will repeat each and every game, no matter how many times that you've heard them before. Phrases like, just put a skirt on him, or you can't even touch the quarterback anymore. And my personal favorite is their rant on Guardian caps. They'll start talking about, back in my day, we got concussions and we're just fine. But are you really just fine? Because I'm looking at you and you don't seem fine. As this guy continually rants about how soft today's NFL players are, the hypocrisy is hilarious because this is the same guy who pops an ibuprofen to walk to the mailbox because he's got that knee that bothers him. They've also taken it upon themselves to turn other eras of football into modern mythology. They're always going on and on and on about how players from their era would absolutely dominate today. Don't even think about debating them on any of this. You are never going to change their mind, and that's okay. The Overreactor. Having a reasonable, controlled take is a concept that is completely foreign to this person. He doesn't have opinions, he has declarations. In every game that he watches, he's either witnessing the birth of a dynasty or the death of a franchise and nothing in between. His team could win by 3 opening weekend against another team who was 1-16 last year, and instead of having tempered expectations, he's already online designing his own Super Bowl ring. Now on the same note, his team could lose a hard-fought battle to a playoff team, and he'll want everyone fired, everyone traded, and everyone investigated by the FBI. If it's week 1 and his team has a brand new rookie quarterback and he does well, that guy has Hall of Famer written all over him. Now, if week 2, that same rookie ends up throwing 2 picks, he'll be saying that he's the biggest bust since Jamarcus Russell. Now, the most prominent characteristic about this fan is that they'll have a lot of takes, and 99% of those takes will be wrong, but they will never acknowledge any of their wrong takes. He'll have screenshots on his phone of his one correct take, and keep showing that take to you forever as evidence of how he's always right. The reasonable fan. Of all the types of NFL fans, this one is for sure the most rare. They're nearly extinct, but if you're lucky, you might spot one in the wild every once in a while. This person doesn't have hot takes, they have measured opinions. Their team will lose, and instead of calling for everybody to get fired, they'll say something rational like, if we just clean up those few mistakes, we can really build this into a great season. They understand team rebuilds take time. They know that rookie QBs need more than 3 games to develop. What might be the most incredible thing about this fan is that when a call goes their way, they'll often admit when they think the call is wrong. The other types of fans usually don't trust this person. There's just something deeply unsettling about someone who can watch their team get blown out and say something calm like, we'll get them next week, without even threatening to burn their jerseys once. It's like meeting someone who flosses every single day and actually reads the terms and conditions. Like I said, extremely, extremely rare. And those are the types of NFL fans. You might be at least one of these, or maybe even a combination of multiple, depending on how your team's doing. If you happen to enjoy this video, you may enjoy one of my other videos, which, as you know, I've put on screen right here. As always, thank you all for watching, and I will be starting the live stream very, very soon, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested.